I've decided to speak briefly about depression and getting to the crux of the argument. And people have spoken about this many times in the past, including myself. And so hearing me speak about it again might seem redundant, but I feel now I can articulate it in a way that is superior to how I did in the past. In my view, the main guiding point behind depression over anything is the idea that what you are doing within your own life is not conducive to causing the change you would like to see. You have many people who get depressed over their relationships with others, whether they're platonic or romantic. You'll have some that will become disillusioned over the jobs they're working. And, people who don't have it will say, well, you can just go and try this or try that. But one thing that needs to be understood is that there is a certain level of backing that we all have when we come to view things cynically or positively. People who view things positively will say, "Oh, of course this will work out because there's so many jobs, there's so many people, and there's some large quantity of this, that, and the other." They'll find a way to justify their own view. In the case of a person who is depressed, as I've been sometimes, you'll have that same idea, but it will be applied in reverse. So even a person that says, I am doomed to repeat this. They have succumbed, and some will say, "Oh, well, because you said this won't happen, then it will stay that way." And they'll say this as they're actively trying to make it change. So it's one thing to say that the person who says they'll never have a job is going to be causing their own downfall. But if that person who says that goes into those jobs and applies over and over again and goes into the interviews with a smile on his face and a positive demeanor and speaks about his various skills and attributes only to have them say thanks but no thanks or not call him back, he's going to get disillusioned. And really, one thing that needs to be understood is that you can have a large plethora of things and still have a person feel the way that they do because it can be reinforced that, oh, well, here's this large quantity of this thing that I want, but none of that quantity is willing to give it to me. So for example, if I'm a person who's depressed that is saddened over looking for a job, and I apply to 10 or 20 different places and I still can't find anything, I'm not going to say, "Hey, let me just apply to 80 more." I'm going to say, "Man, no one wants to take me. I'm horrible. All this, that, and the other." Same thing with a person who wants to date. If they go out and approach, dozens of women and get nothing from it other than lip service and speaking for a couple of weeks or months, they're going to get saddened. They're going to feel angry. They're going to be tired, and they're just going to think it's not worth it. And really, that particular stance of what I do doesn't matter is what causes people to take it to the breaking point of wanting to commit suicide, because they consider their actions of little merit other than to prolong their suffering. That they are, by living, not benefiting themselves or those around them, but rather just hurting their self, potentially those around them too, because people get tired of hearing them nag or walk around saddened or try to put on some facade. These are the views that go into the mindset of someone who's on that path, and they'll try to say, "Well, I'm just feeling down today," but it is a very dangerous thing to not confront your discontent. And whether you want to give it the label of depression or just say that you're, down in the dumps for the week or month or year, it's still something you have to look in the eye and say, "Yes, this is what I have going on." Now, in terms of a cure for it, admitting it is the first step toward recovery, but also recognizing that we have, thanks to the advent of the internet, various support groups that can go out and speak with a person. And really, what always draws me back into the area of life, whether I feel discontent with what I know personally, education wise, or relationships, or employment, anything that appears to not be going my way, is when I just sit down and think to myself, I don't know when exactly, in the event that I don't commit suicide, and at that point I would know, in that hypothetical, I don't know when it all ends, when I am going to never be able to try this again. But in the time that I do have, keep fighting and see what happens, because I don't know what 2019 or any of the years afterward will look like. We just started this one. I don't know what February will look like, or any of this other passage of time that we have coming for us. So my idea is to write it out, see what happens. I have predictions and conclusions, but they can never be confirmed unless I personally see it. So that is my stance on this, and hopefully it did something. That's just how I view depression and the way I've always come out of it. So thank you.